Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Now we are joined by 10th Man, Brian's Logic, Arwin, Refracted Curvature, Eli, Neil, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, good to have you all. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere-edge horizon, formerly known as the curve of the Earth?
According to Ruhif, there is.
There isn't? No. I mean, there is.
It.
Hold on, that's confusing immediately, straight off the bat from Brian. Ruhif sent very amusing images to Adam, where he utilises his belief in a non-existent geometric physical sphere-edge horizon at a tangent point, formerly Earth curve. So you're saying it doesn't, according to Ruhif, have that? Why would he be claiming it?
No. I said according to Ruhif, there is. According to Ruhif, there is proof of a physical geometric horizon.
Ah, Black Swan. Bless his little cotton socks. Did he have his head in the sand for the last 2 years? Yeah, he did, didn't he? Yeah, you don't have a physical geometric sphere edge for a horizon. There is no tangent point. We wouldn't expect to see physical geometry, end quote, AB science. Nobody's expecting to see physical geometry, end quote, plan a walk. The geometric horizon only exists in the maths. The rumpus. I mean, what kind of clown is Ruhif? Does he not understand the rhetoric of his own side? No, sphere-shaped air. Wouldn't even see your hand in front of your face where it really is. That'd be Craig fight the flat earth. Don't you listen to any of these people, Ruhif? They're all telling you how nothing's where it's supposed to be. It's all refracted always at a rate of r. Any evidence of the r value, Earth radius?
No. Yes.
Yes.
Hold
on.
Really.
You're going to need a flat plane for that.
Yeah, I was going to. I suppose I can't really call it evidence. Oh well.
No, you feel free. I mean, if you're going to need a flat plane for it, you're going to need a flat plane for it. You might as well explain how.
Well, yeah, it's the only way I'm going to get it. Is if I use a flat plane and take flat Earth elevation angles to Polaris. That will give me a dual radii if I want. Not just the one. Two.
Well, isn't that lovely? But you're going to need a flat plane for that.
Yeah.
Any evidence of the R value
that
beyond the utilisation and bastardisation of a flat plane elevation angle measurement?
No, I have nothing other than that. That's what I got.
All right, okay. Any evidence that you can acquire an elevation angle from a curved baseline?
I have evidence that the ballers do their best to talk about everything but that.
They don't need it. They can just use a flat plane.
That's needing it. Any evidence of the distance to the sun? Let's move on.
Well, if you divide the two-way speed of light by 16, it still works perfect in the real world to the point where we wouldn't notice any difference with radar and speed guns, cop, police speed guns, all these kind of things. So the only thing that it would affect would be distances and sizes of celestial bodies. And distance to the sun, then, well, I don't think there is any, if the two-way speed of light calculation can just be broken down into 16 and still work. Yeah.
Anybody in Discord, I don't know if there's any ballers in as yet, anybody claiming a height for the celestial objects? Try that once more. Hands up, anybody who ascribes a height to the lights in the sky. Okay, next question. Celestial navigation, which we are currently debating about, as it's a proof the Earth is flat, it requires it to be so. Given that that's the case, is there anybody out there that's going to actually object to that claim, the celestial navigation claim? Because that doesn't ascribe a height either. Okay, somebody's going to have to play devil's advocate and speak on their behalf. There is somebody who ascribes heights to these lights in the sky, though, isn't there? It definitely isn't us on the flat Earth side of this discussion, though, is it?
Yeah, there is people. They claim that there's a 93 million mile distance to a heliocentric sun.
That's interesting. See, given the current discussion about celestial navigation, correct me if I'm wrong, Brian, but that 93 million mile or 96 million mile distance gets immediately ignored in favour of an infinite distance so that they can ascribe the flat Earth angles they've measured to a centre of a presupposed spherical Earth with parallel light rays. Correct?
Yeah, I mean, you could just say they're all infinite, and then you wouldn't have to address your claim of them not being infinite.
But that's my point. We don't ascribe any heights to these objects, wherever they may be, these perceived lights in the sky. We don't ascribe heights to them. Celestial navigation doesn't require they have any heights measured or ascribed to them either, just an angle, and then a conversion to give you distances along the ground. So they're not ascribing or acquiring or measuring height when they do celestial navigation. So when we say they have a height ascribed at a literal distance that they give you with a number attached to it, when it comes to celestial navigation, they, the only one ascribing a height, do away with their claimed height in favour of an infinite distance. No height, just infinitely far. So I'm saying that the only people with a claim deny their own claim when it comes to the celestial navigation after using flat Earth elevation angle measurements.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. If you go ahead and grant me the infinite distance and parallel rays, and then grant me a tangent that's been debunked, I can then use height of eye as an excuse to bring that tangent to my feet and assert a dingleberry Earth.
When you say bring it to your feet, you mean a flat plane that the navigators actually are measuring and navigating about, with 90 degrees at the GP of the star, that sort of flat plane with a dingleberry below it. You mean that if I give you all of that list, you can get to a flat plane with a useless sphere below it?
Right, yeah, but the tangent, you got to give me the debunked tangent first. After you give me the other two nonsensical
we covered that at the
statements.
top of the show with Roofy, though, didn't we? Yeah, Black Swan. Yeah, no, we've been told for 2 straight years how you don't have a straight line to anything, always refracted, never no Atmo day. So no, you definitely can't measure a tangent. What are you thinking of, you crazy fools? No, I won't be giving you a straight line to anything, given that you've barked refraction at us for 2 years and told us how never a straight line ever, to the point where you can't see your own hand in front of your face, it's not where you think it is. Yeah, I definitely won't be giving you a tangent. It's well and truly debunked. Your side made well and truly sure that that was buried 2 years ago. But refraction, what's that tangent, you say, Roofy? No. Definitely not. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
Morning, guys.
Hey, Chocolate.
Morning, Chocolate.
Hey, Chocolate. What was the question, Nathan?
Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
No.
Not in aerospace, there isn't. Aerospace doesn't have any evidence of that.
Over 70 people watching. That's good, considering we've only been live for 10 minutes. Fantastic, in fact. Please share the show, and a very warm welcome to all of you who've joined us, presumably because somebody else in the live stream's already shared the show. So thank you very much. Please smash that share button.
I would like to see evidence for an axis before we really address rotation.
You want to see
You
evidence
took the
of an
words
axis?
right out of my mouth. 'Cause I was going to say that. I was going to say, instead of, if you have axial rotation, you need an axis first, right?
Yeah, you're going to need R and you're going to need a flat plane to get there. Of course, that completely violates the measurement that you've used to infer a sphere with an axis that's going to be rotating about angles and curved surfaces when you've just measured it all flat. It kind of makes absolutely no sense, really.
But if you can get past the point of it not making any sense and it being a contradiction, then you can accept it as a sphere. You just got to get past that contradiction and nonsense that it is.
Or just get past getting hung up on the details of you needed a flat baseline to get those elevation angles. Then we can pretend it's a sphere, dingleberry under a horizontal plane. Yay! That makes sense.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Look, you can acquire black market elevation angles from me on Patreon. There's no questions asked. Just send me a message. Obviously, become a Patreon, and just say, look, I need some flat Earth elevation angles so I can make my sphere belief work. I'll slip them you on the lowdown. Nobody has to know.
My wife actually got a kick out of that when you said that the other day.
Look, Neil, you're almost giving away what's happened with your wife and the elevation angle. Just stop mentioning such things.
Is that the reason that Ruhif done, or who was it that done the awards show yesterday?
Can you stop asking me about my customers? Look, this is very unprofessional. Look, if Rufy wants to acquire a flat Earth elevation angle from me via Patreon, that's his business. I'm not inferring or suggesting that he has or hasn't.
Okay. Well, I just find it interesting that everything is spinning in a horizontal-like fashion. You know, because the axis that we're spinning on, that horizontal plane that us, the Earth, and the everything else is all on. That's insane. Even and then we're supposed to be a part of this galaxy that's also rotating in a disc-like manner.
Yeah, you'd think we'd notice.
No, it's the greatest roller coaster ride you ever created that you'll never feel. It's great.
Yeah, it's pretty absurd. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Scientific evidence of what?
Gravity. Scientific evidence thereof.
No.
Well, if I can get you to assert a cause to a downward bias that doesn't exist, I might have an argument.
Downward bias that doesn't exist. No, there is no downward bias. Gas doesn't go down, go boom, boom like bouncy balls, for example.
We might need to change the question. So is there any observation of gravity? Because if there was scientific evidence, there would be an observation first.
Ah, there you go. That's why it's phrased that way. Step one, right? What's step one, Chocolate? Oh, that reminds me. One of my patrons did actually ask me a genuine question about you. They were like, why is Chocolate always giggling about stuff? Someone really likes you. Well, the person who asked the question's wife really likes you.
Yeah, because the notion of living on a magical spinning water ball flying around in a vacuum makes me laugh. And the people that come in to defend that nonsense make me laugh even more. There you go.
Are you not amused? I mean, what's up? It is amusing when you stand back and look at it. It is a very polarising way to be, actually, isn't it, Chocolate? I know you and I relate very much on this level, but you can either laugh and cry, or cry, I should say, but only dependent on how you view the world after finding this information out. Cry because society is, disappointing to you, not adhering to your worldview. It's like, well, that'll send you into a spiral that you won't recover from. But if you just look back and go, wow, what a crazy world we live in, isn't it nuts? Wow, they really do. They're completely brainwashed with this. Isn't it amazing, the power people have over others? Amazing. Wow. And then when you see
What is it?
Go on, Neil.
What is it with Chocolate anyway? My wife kind of likes him too. What's up with that?
Have you seen him? He's an Adonis. Anyway, enough
Yeah,
about
I
chocolate.
never went into that spiral after finding out the world actually became very mysterious and magical to me, right? And not the magical of, oh, on a spinning ball, but the magic of there's so many things that I don't know now. And there are probably a whole lot of things that I'll never know, but that's okay. Instead of being indoctrinated with a fairy tale that I must accept as my reality, I'll take the things that I can't know and don't know, and maybe we'll hopefully find out one day. That's the way I see it.
I couldn't agree more. Exactly. I see the world as a very wondrous place as a result. And that's fantastic. And the nonsense that goes along with the previous views I held in terms of being on a ball are now amusing. However, the contrast to that, if you put it in the laugh or cry paradigm or juxtaposition between the two, you've got an alternative. The cry alternative is the conspiracy cats alternative. I haven't mentioned this for a while, but he did an interview with Haunted House, and he's alluding by sort of vaguely separating himself from what he's actually detailing. I think he did it with a third party or something like that. But he's detailing how scary the world becomes when you realise that you've been deceived on such a fundamental level. Suddenly you have to start considering other aspects of your life that might be deception also. And bloody hell, where does it all end? It's all very scary. You're going to lose sleep over such things, according to Katz when he was interviewed by Haunted House. So I'm saying that that's the other side of it for me. You know, that's the symbiotic relationship that we held in terms of our amusement of how nonsensical the old paradigm is versus what we try and disseminate to an audience daily, versus somebody who's come across it and gone, holy crap, that's terrifying. It just can't be the case. There's no way the scale of lies is that big. No way, I'm not having it. I'm going to fight for it to not be the case. And then you're basically in the crying boat, right? That's where I see us in the same place. One person viewing it as hell, one person viewing it as heaven. The wondrous world I see is fantastic. Chocolate's obviously agreeing. They see the same exact arena, the same place, with the same people as their hell. Well, that is also quite amusing.
Well, I see it as both. I mean, it's really, I guess, dependent upon my mood, but sometimes it's depressing, you know? Other times I want to laugh at it.
Only depressing from a societal standpoint.
Right, it is. It's depressing, you know, to think that your society is so easily influenced by something so obviously not true, you know?
The only thing that I would even class in, and I don't think it's depressing, but the only thing I would relate close to that would be the fact that I can't enjoy it the way I enjoy it with like you guys, the people that understand it, with my family and my friends. You know, there are always going to be a bunch of people who don't understand what I'm saying, who just want to look at me like I'm crazy, which is fine. I'm okay with that. But, you know, that's the only thing that kind of like, that kind of sucks. But the fact that I have, you know, there are people, a few here and there, that understand exactly what I'm saying, have come to those realizations themselves, and I can enjoy it with them. So, got to take the win and the loss, right?
Which is another reason why this show is successful for the pro side of the argument, our side, if you want. It might be the case that the numbers are stronger from our opponent's side and they're a more dedicated audience, but the love and support for having your kind of bar-style place, you know, like in Cheers, where everyone knows your name and all that, well, that's what this kind of has for the group of people that come as audience and participants on the panel. You know, and that's, you know, peppered with what actually will happen at a societal level when one of the fundies comes in and disturbs that chi.
When
There's
you
always
got into this subject,
Go on, John.
I was going to say, when you got into this subject, did you ever think that you would, like, at the beginning of it, did you ever think you'd be the one defending geometry and science against the Globers?
Not in a million years, no.
Well, especially because when that started, all we were told was what? Flat, furfur, or whatever they want to call us. Do you think that science doesn't prove that we live on a globe?
In that
We
vein,
got all this science. Just
Yeah, exactly.
like that.
In that vein, any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics? So they don't have any science. There is no science.
Well, you'll never develop a hypothesis if you think that it's a heliocentric universe.
No, you're going to start out with R every time and you haven't got one. You're going to be begging the question. You're not going to be observing naturally occurring phenomena when it's naturally occurring phenomena with the pretense that it's moving around a heliocentric sphere Earth in a vacuum. Speaking of which, any evidence you can have gas pressure without a container?
There's no way
No.
to test that.
Comes in fits and starts with the sky vacuum argument, doesn't it? You'll occasionally get a newbie that'll just wander his way in or her way in and just start arguing the toss about there being pictures from space. It normally is a gauge of how new they are to the arguments, actually, if they start talking in that fashion.
Well, when you assert that you can't test that, right, isn't that just a concession, Arwen?
I
Like,
don't
are
know,
you
but
being ballin' when you say that?
your baby was in stereo. You got a stereo mic. Yes, nobody cares, clearly. By pointing out that minor detail, no one cares. Is
I
this a
care, Nathan.
Go on, Brian.
I'm just saying I care.
You care about the stereo imagery of that mic that John's got? Me too.
Yes.
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Nobody talks about that anymore. It should be technically the same domain as what astrophysicists deal with, but there isn't any focus on it at all.
Well, it seems like a lot more... If you've got a sphere belief, it would be much more attainable. Would you not agree? You know, they talk about going out to the fantasy land of the sky vacuum to travel to a rock they claim is Mars. Merely a light in the sky as far as I'm concerned. But either way, they get there and they're doing all sorts of stuff with robots and drilling and stuff. You go, well, you're already here. There's no journey to take place. Just figure out what's at the centre, right? Should be a doddle, considering the feats you're claiming take place in Narnia. I mean, the sky vacuum. I mean, space.
Yeah, you would think it would be easy peasy, right? I mean, supposedly they're sending metal boxes out there that land on asteroids, and they can collect data and send the thing back. They can do that, but you can't get like 9 miles down on the ground that we live on.
Well,
That's ridiculous.
We got a problem, Chocolate. The dingleberries don't have a core.
Maybe the horizontal plane on top of the dingleberry is too deep to get through, and we can't get to the dingleberry.
What horizontal plane would that be?
The one that they need to get an elevation angle.
What, the one that's not the sphere surface, but is actually what the navigators use, measure, and navigate on? That horizontal plane.
Yeah. Which is cool, because they told us they're not talking about the surface anyway. Their sphere surface, of course.
Yeah, John likes that.
I'd just like to say that the molten iron core is the globe's dodgy uncle. They don't want to talk about him.
Dodgy uncle?
Yeah.
Nah, they got a whole elaborate story, the heroic story of Thea smashing into Earth and then the debris forming and coalescing through gravitational accretion the moon that we now observe. That's why the petrified rocks that are in these museums, you know, They're obviously part of Earth originally, you know, billions of years ago, or however long they say, when something smashed into us, depositing a nice juicy molten iron core, oversizing it, and meaning it's not slowed down and cooled down in the time frame that they set out when they made up that story about the heliocentric model. You know, it all makes perfect sense when you talk about Thea. So I don't think it's a dodgy uncle. It's got a very cool backstory.
That sounds like an excuse somebody would give for their dodgy uncle.
Yeah.
The bedtime story about Uncle Freddy. Let's not talk about it anymore.
Raby.
Well, they could only do that story when they're not practicing celestial navigation, because then they don't have to have that plane on top of the presupposed sphere with the presupposed center. So when it comes to celestial navigation, it's embarrassing, because the dingleberry underneath the plane, which serves no purpose for navigation, goes away with the center and the molten iron core that doesn't exist.
Shout out to Retro Bill for the super chat. He says, great to be listening live again. Thank you very much indeed, Retro Bill. I noticed the Wikipedia blurb beneath the video has been updated to include the claim that the globe Earth has been, quote, scientifically proven. Wonder if this show might be responsible. Yeah, I will take full credit for that. I'm going to say yes, Retro Bill. We are solely responsible for them updating the tramp stamp to include scientific. There is no natural phenomena when claiming a globe Earth. There's no means to scientifically validate it. It's just typical flat Earth tramp stamp from Wikipedia that makes no sense. How are you supposed to validate a concrete noun? If Earth is a sphere, that's a concrete noun. That's not an observed phenomena to observe the cause of and figure it out with the method. It's just absurd to say it's scientifically proven. You've scientifically proven a sphere Earth. That's not a phenomena. You can't even adhere to step one of the scientific method, let alone claim its scientific validity. It is nonsense. I like that, though. Before, I agreed with the Wikipedia tramp stamp. I'm like, they're describing flat Earth as an archaic model. Yeah, I'll go with that. Models are reifications. Archaic if you've modelled it. It's not even a model to be modelled. It's an aspect of the world we inhabit. So I agree in terms of describing a model as archaic, that reification. Suddenly it's changed to, no, actually scientifically valid. What? So you're just going to literally put the magic trick right on the tramp stamp? The magic trick of claiming anything that you make up as a just-so story has got scientific validity, when science is the observation of a natural phenomena and your desire to figure out what caused it. Through a method, step 1, observe phenomena. Step 2, formulate hypothesis. If this, then the phenomena will happen. If this, the phenomena doesn't happen. And then go forth and validate it with an experiment. That would be vary what you think causes the effect you observed in step 1, see if it causes it. If it does, you've proven your hypothesis correct. In the alternative, if you don't, you vary it and nothing happens, you've proved your null. So you prove something either way, but you've got to start with a phenomena. Globe Earth's not a phenomena if you're going to claim it at all. Number 1, it's a reification of a model. Number 2, it's not a phenomena.
Well, there is a lot of people on our opposing side that would claim that they see the effects of curvature every day. And we just deny them.
Yeah, it's right in the curve maths. The begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking curve maths claim that physical obstruction at a tangent point gets in the way of boats and buildings. Ergo, you've got a physical edge with boats falling over it in a globe Earth. Well, that was debunked 2020, Black Swan. The horizon's beyond the physical geometric limitations of a sphere Earth radius 3959, because if it was a radius 3959 sphere, then every distance to that horizon could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. And in the Black Swan image, it's beyond 10 miles when it should be at 1.2. So it's definitely not a physical geometric tangent point limitation, Rufy. Obviously. Yeah, if it was a tangent, your globe Earth would be bigger than the orbital claim path of the moon in the heliocentric nonsense fantasy. Obviously not. Obviously we don't have a tangent. Refraction is the excuse for a non-physical, not blocking boats anymore horizon that's miles beyond where it should be in your maths. 120 people watching. Woohoo! Thanks to everyone who shared. Warm welcome to all of you who just joined us. Please share the show.
So about that tramp stamp, that's pretty curious. Them saying that, the globe has been scientifically proven. Is that what it said? I wonder if they threw that same tramp stamp on Mr. Vsauce's video. It is a three-dimensional spheroid. However, I don't know that, and it has not been proven. Science doesn't prove anything. End quote. Vsauce. So
That's true.
are you going to throw that tramp stamp under that video too? I'm very curious about that. Maybe one of the Globers can come in and tell us how science does prove things or doesn't prove things when their own narrative says that it does. And it actually does. That's the point of doing it.
Well, what they could do, Chocolate, is come in and tell you they can't show you a curvature, but they can show you the effects of curvature.
That's nice. You mean that effect, like you mean like boats and buildings disappearing in the distance? That effect, that old wives' tale, that one.
Yeah, a star is going behind the geometric horizon.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
I think that concludes the housekeeping. Did we cover everything? I think we did. Excellent. So I've got a...
Nathan,
Go on.
I got a citation for you in Master B for Distance to the Stars, from time and date. I've posted it before.
Okay.
Yeah, so based on two coordinates, altitude and azimuth, the horizontal coordinate system provides the general direction in which to find a celestial object. Although the distance of visible planets, stars, and galaxies differs by billions of light years, the system ignores the depth of space as an object's distance is irrelevant for the purpose of locating it in the sky.
Very good.
It's just an angular relationship above the horizon.
Yeah, but at this point in the discussion, what they needed us to be doing was ascribing ourselves to a flat Earth model with a height to two little balls moving around it above it at a given height. So they can say, well, your height would dictate that blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but the height is not ever part of celestial navigation, even in the method they say they do on a presupposed sphere, which they need a plane for to even do it because they can't get an elevation angle on a sphere. So I don't even know how they could even start. They must not be reading the books on celestial navigation.
Shout out to Godzilla37 who says, any chance Nathan missed a super chat? I think I did. I did put it on screen, but then I forgot to shout it out. I'm really sorry, Godzilla. So sorry. Thank you for the super chat, though. Really appreciate the support.
What I find our opposition do is they'll throw out, let's just say, they'll throw out a statement like, it's just an angular relationship. You know, the height of the star or the distance to the star doesn't matter. You know, and we could say then, I would say, really, well, how does co-altitude work then in a model? It's just an angular relationship. You know, the height to the star doesn't matter. So they're using, our opposition use, they use things that are stated in celestial navigation in reality, because the height of the star in reality doesn't matter because we're using parallel zeniths. But they then want to take these statements and mix them in with the cake that they're making, you know, the cakes for our globe, and ignore why the height to the star doesn't matter. Ignore why celestial navigation can ignore that height, that distance. It's because parallel zeniths. They want to have diverging zeniths and still claim this, make the same claims. You know,
Brian, you gotta watch out for dodgy uncles baking cake.
Yeah, dodgy Uncle Freddy's cakes.
Well, when you're talking about like it's only an angular relation, like if that's the statement you make, then you're accepting a flat plane at that moment.
Yeah, because it is only an angular relationship on a flat plane. On a globe, there is no angular relationship.
Right. You can't get an angle from a curved surface.
Exactly.
Yeah, but McToon's out there with a $10,000 stupid challenge. And I like what Brian says. If he's so certain there's the globe, why doesn't he put that on the side for a month or so and come and grab 3 Bitcoins and prove the sphere?
Did he mention that
Exactly.
Mitchell sent him? Mitchell sent him. They're there at Mitchell's request. Did he not mention that? 72 times now. 72 times I've put to McToon that his challenge requires a flat plane. In the first instance, he must acquire an elevation angle measurement. That requires a flat Earth. When that was put to him when he came here personally, his response to at least 3 renditions of it that he heard was to tell me that he was here at the request of Mitchell. That was his response. I kid you not.
Well, I don't see why somebody who was so adamant that it's a globe, that they're putting 10,000 US dollars up for a flat earther to do some celestial navigation and prove celestial navigation works on a flat earth, because that's what the 10,000 is for. We're supposed to prove that celestial navigation works on a flat earth. Now, besides all the stupidity that's within his challenge, and there's lots of that, the fact that he thinks that he can put up a challenge of $10,000 for us to prove the celestial navigation works on a flat earth. I mean, the reverse of that would be, well, you obviously believe that it proves a globe. I mean, why is he not out there getting those 3 Bitcoin? I mean, Bitcoin, it's gone the way up. I mean, Bitcoin is going to be worth a few bob in the next few months. 3 Bitcoin, get it, you'd be doing very well getting 3 of them. I mean,
I'll tell you why.
Brian,
I'll tell you why, because when he starts off by presenting it as a so-called globe proof, step 1 will be to measure a flat Earth angle. That's why.
Yeah. He's not doing it. And ever since I said it to him on YouTube in a comment about a week ago, he's gone quiet. The amount of people coming at me about this challenge have gone quiet. Because if the Earth is a globe, then his challenge, done in the reverse, or just done, would prove it. Prove it to him.
Listen, Brian, they just put their thing out there to deceive their audience, make their audience like it seems like they're doing something, because they can't do anything with this. Their hands are tied. It's over.
Well, Neil, he has his friend Fight the Flat Earth, Craig McNeil, who is a acclaimed subject matter expert on celestial navigation. And they also have Arctic Reflections, who is a 30-year naval captain in the, I think, Swedish Navy. I mean, surely between the 3 of them, 3 absolute experts, one of them is definitely a captain, in a navy, one of the probably world's biggest navies. Surely between the 3 of them, they'd be able to prove a globe with celestial navigation.
Brian, they probably have nightmares about coming on this show and trying to prove their ridiculous claims.
They have nightmares about the height of light correction. In reality, that's what they have nightmares about. Because that's going to be very terrifying for them when they're out on that boat.
Well, the way I've been able to understand his claim so far is that to do his challenge, you're not allowed to use the flat Earth angle measurements because he's claimed them as a sphere measurement. When he claimed the celestial lights, you couldn't use star charts and things like that. Those are all flat Earth angle measurements. He's saying you can't use them. So you can't use the flat Earth to prove the flat Earth is his challenge.
So you can't use elevation angles. We're not allowed to use 3 elevation angles to 3 separate celestial bodies. We can't do that. Is that what he's claiming?
No, that's his challenge when it's broken down, is you're not allowed to use those measurements. But you still got to prove it's flat, but you can't measure the angle, Like,
right, so how would he go about it then? Let's just say we reverse this and him and Craig McNeil and Arctic Reflections are all out on a ship. Arctic Reflections could provide a big ship considering he's a naval guy. And let's say they're all out in the big ship and they have a sextant. First star they see, right, that they're going to take an angle to. Right, what did they do then? I mean, where did they go from there? If they believe it's a globe, where do they go from there? They have a sextant in the hand, they can see a star, they know their height off the water, their eye line height. What happens then? What's step 2?
They're reminded of Nathan Oakley saying you need an angle measurement that requires a flat Earth to begin with, and they give up.
Well, no, they bury their head in the sand, get the angle measurement, don't worry about how, and then they continue on and just assert that it proves a globe after they do it.
Well, I'm willing to go with them. I'm willing to join in on this. I'm willing to go with McToon, Craig McNeil, and Arctic Reflections. Arctic Reflections provides the boat. He's a naval guy, so we can use the boat, one of the Navy boats. He's a captain. So I'll go with them out onto the sea, right? Starry night, and I'll be there for the 3 elevation angles. Well, they're not going to be. They're not going to be angles. Not going to be elevation angles if they think they're going to be on a globe. But I'll go with them. I'm willing to go. I'm willing to go with them onto a naval ship, and they prove to me in front of me how they take, something that proves the globe that gets them 3 measurements to the GPs of 3 celestial bodies. I'll go with them out on our boat.
Yeah,
and I'll sit there.
They would fail right from the start of the gate because they'd have to use the horizon mirror and bring the luminary down there and get the angle to it. So it'd be over right there.
Yeah, well, I'll be there with my arms folded. Let's see step 2, lads. You have a sextant. There's the stars. Let's see step 2.
Are you there, Extremesis?
I'm here.
What did you make of Toon's performance?
I don't know. I didn't think I watched that one.
Good answer.
Or heard it.
Stop the bullshit you hear every day. You know exactly what happened. What'd you think of it?
When did this happen?
No need, Neil. Don't divine his bloody thoughts. If he says he wasn't here, just take him at his word. You just fix him for an argument. Ignore him, Extremesis.
Okay, so basically continue on as normal.
I'm gonna. Don't you worry. So the reason I ask Extremis is because the comments have continued to come in, people noting how poor their performance is. I've trimmed it out. It'll come out on Saturday. It's members only at the moment, so if you want to watch that trimmed version, just edited down so it's a bit more concise, less gaps and such, then yeah, check it out when it comes out on Saturday. I've called it 69 tea bags. I did release a short of it as well. No, 67. My bad. 67 tea bags.
67 tea bags? That's seeping pretty low.
It's 72 now.
Does he get a discount when he gets to 100?
Are we talking about flat Earth elevation angle measurements now, or what?
Yeah.
No, there's no discount. Just hit me up on Patreon. Say you need an elevation angle measurement from a flat Earth. I'll sort you out. No questions asked. If you want to use it for, I don't know, setting out challenges, saying how that you can't use these on a flat Earth, as long as no one knows where you've got them from, all's cushy.
You know, this is one of those situations that they can't get out of, because anybody in the audience could go look at the citations and references that we've shown on celestial navigation, listen to what they say about celestial navigation, then go read those books and say, well, they're disagreeing with celestial navigation, and all that flat Earth debates is doing is reading how it works. So they lose instantly. That's why they have to come here and do an Academy Award show for you and say Mitchell sent them, because they can't debunk this.
Their religious zeal is kind of breathtaking to behold, you know. Like, it's one thing to believe it's a sphere because you've been told that all your life, but to, you know, have it explained why it's not, and with the measurement to back it up, and still deny it, that takes some religious zeal.
Or a zombie.
I'm going to call that the third lull in this conversation. So I'm going to do a bit of plugging of my own. So over the last week, I've been trialing filling a new time slot, which is at 2 a.m. UK, 12 hours after the live show starts. So there's going to be now, I don't know what days I'll do it, but on some days, just look out, because there very well may be what I'm going to label late night flat Earth debate. So some of the more choice picks of shows that have been on the second channel. So if you're only subscribed to Nathan Oakley 1980, which the majority of you are, it's got a lot more subscribers, there's a good chance it'll be new material to you. Yes, it has come out already. So people who are a bit more dedicated and are subscribed to my second channel, subscribe today if you haven't done so already. May have seen some of these already. But they're coming out at a very different time, but mainly to see if I can expose the show to a different audience. So that's something that I plug now. If you're like, oh, it's way too early. Well, there'll be an interactive audience with a chat going by at a period that's 12 hours after the live show comes out. So hopefully that's convenient for everyone. Plus the shows have been a bit more vetted because they're currently members-only shows. So on Nathan Oakley 1980 channel, you can watch almost every show as a member. But they get various reactions from the members, and there's enough of them now for me to gauge how good a show is. So I'll be picking the ones that have had a better interaction or a greater viewership from the members. So they'll be good shows, basically. So those are the ones that are going out. They'll go out 12 hours after the live show normally starts. So it's 2 p.m. UK for the live show, and it's going to be 2 a.m. for the late night flat Earth debate shows. So be here or be sphere. If you're around at those times, there'll be some people chatting in the show. Yesterday's was the most recent Bitcoin participant, so it was the Dearth Trap show, which has done very, very well. But I wouldn't expect it not to, as it was an exceptionally good show. But there we go. So check it out. My little plug.
I listened to one of Bev's shows there recently in the past few days. And remember that guy that came on with him and his two friends collaborated within Stellarium, and they all three of them looked at what he claimed to be the Southern Cross, which was the wrong thing to be looking at. And they made a Stellarium observation that can only work on a globe. Remember that guy trying to win the Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he said that when he came in to your show, this show, that all that happened was he got shouted at. There was not a word about how he didn't know his own claim and had to be corrected several times and was laughed out of it in the end. Or about how his claim is from 2015.
Did anybody tell him that Stellarium is the flat Earth model?
I don't know. He didn't mention stellarium on Bev's either. It was funny. He didn't mention stellarium. You know, he just said him and two friends of his made 3 separate observations. Not a word about it happening in stellarium.
Yeah, that celestial sphere and stellarium, that's a flat Earth model. What was he trying to prove with the flat Earth model?
Well, you know, the celestial sphere really proves the globe, John, you know. And, you know, it's tough going. It's tough going being a baller because, you know, especially with this trade Bitcoin thing. And your man says himself, he says, there's no way David Weiss is ever going to hand it out. Like, it's just all corrupted. The whole thing is corrupted. You know, David Weiss just, you know, he's given evidence and he won't hand it out. You know, it's all corrupt. And all Nathan does is shout. Sorry.
Well, you know, if I was going to present a flat Earth model as proof for a globe, I would probably have to say it was corrupt because you don't want to talk about your evidence at that point.
Yeah, you certainly don't want to be saying that your evidence is stellarium.
Well, you can check that out. So that's the most recent upload. If you go to videos on this channel, Nathan Oakley 1980 channel, I should say, as this might be on another channel. But the show before this is the Dearth Trap. So just go and have a listen for yourself. See if you think it was unreasonable or, you know, he somehow proved his sphere. He didn't. It was embarrassing. And you can hear that for yourself.
Well, usually they end up telling us about how flat it is or how they can't prove anything either way. That's their two positions they end up taking when they try to enter into the debate about it.
But at least it's a challenge that's got some participation, you know. People are interested in doing that challenge. Unlike Toon's challenge, where he specifically told me in my comments when he was proactively chasing me up to take part in his challenge. You know, man without a ticket, he's hustling on the street. Come on, buy one of my tickets. Nah, I'm good, thanks. But lots of people have taken Dave up on his challenge. Unlike Toons, who nobody has even contacted him about, because nobody's interested. But he proactively shills it all day long and has done for 6 weeks in spite of no interest. You'd think he'd do something else, but that's the definition of an insanity, isn't it? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting the same result. Maybe you'll get a different result next time, too. Next time you come and proactively shill for your challenge that nobody's interested in. Maybe you'll get a different result next time. Maybe everyone will suddenly be interested.
Maybe he's trying to take solace in the, you know, that the reason they're not doing it is because they know it's a sphere and they just can't. You know, maybe that is how he's addressing it to himself.
Argument from silence fallacy.
Wait a minute. How can you argue from silence?
Say again, Extremesis?
How do you argue from silence?
You don't. You say that the person's lack of response proves your point.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense than what I was thinking.
A lot of the fallacies don't make sense on face value. The title doesn't necessarily indicate what the fallacy is. Which is amusing when people misuse a claim fallacy because they've taken it at face value and don't understand what the fallacy is. I'm not begging for anything. Oh, what was the one that Gem Panda said about begging the question? How can I be begging the question? I've not asked anything.
My silence is I'm arguing for silence.
No. So if Toon says, because nobody has contacted me, my evidence stands true. That's an argument from silence fallacy.
Or for this, he might be able to understand this better. If I asserted because you don't speak on the show, that's proof that the Earth is flat. That would be an argument from silence fallacy.
Much more simple, much better. Yes. Comparable and more simple. Brilliant.
But especially since he had a chance and came here, and he could have presented his nonsensical challenge to us very, coherently. Instead, he shows up with his clown partner to present an award show, which
but
they probably should have given to themselves because they're freaking clowns.
We did find something out, though. I mean, it wasn't all for nothing. We definitely are 100% clear that Mitchell invited them. I mean, that's without question. I'm pretty sure of that. Check out my short where I ask him 3 times about the fact he needs a flat earth for his elevation angle measurement to proceed with his challenge, to be told that Mitchell sent him. Repeatedly told that Mitchell sent him. Did we know Mitchell sent him? Are we all aware that Mitchell sent him?
Yeah, I heard it. I heard the amount of times you said it. It was just like, okay.
The best part of that is when Nathan says, I heard you.
Yeah, very disappointed. That's why I was asking, by the way, Extremesis. People have proactively contacted me from both sides. Non-flat earthers have said, wow, that was disappointment. That's kind of embarrassing.
Mitchell also won McToon's $100 sextant challenge.
What? What $100 sextant challenge?
There's McToon's posted like coordinates and or whatever, and Mitchell emailed him with the correct answer of the location, and he won $100 from McToon's.
Oh, that's lovely. Shout out to...
Can I make a little joke?
You can after I do the super chat shout out. Shout out to us so far.
Okay.
I believe Dirth would pay up if he lost. But how do we prove to ballers the Bitcoin's legit? Nobody believes me when I send them here. I don't know, actually. I don't know because it's not my challenge. You'd have to quiz Dave Weiss on that, how he proves that he's got that Bitcoin. I don't know how he's done that.
I think Chocolate can prove it. He's got the... oh, crap. I can't remember what those numbers are. Yeah, go ahead, Brian. You can probably...
Blockchain. Blockchain or whatever. It's all there. It's all there. You can prove if he has it or doesn't have it.
That's good enough for me. The word of an Irishman.
Can I make my joke?
We never lie.
Absolutely. To be sure, to be sure.
Can you guys hear me?
Go on, Owen. Tell your crap joke.
Yeah. Now, I just wanted to remind everybody about all these anti-flat earthers that show up in the chats every day to tell us how the show is dying. And then the irony of it, because, they are basically a part of what keeps on watching us. So if they wouldn't be showing up every day to tell us how we are dying, then we might just be dying. But here's the thing. They can't help themselves. They have to prove themselves wrong.
That was more of a declaration than a joke.
Yeah.
I find it
it's true,
interesting.
though. If they realize that if they didn't show up, then we might be dying, well, they still have to do it. They just have to show up to contradict themselves, to immediately prove themselves wrong by showing up.
A joke usually is a punchline.
Okay.
The joke of that is they were showing up 5 years ago saying the same thing in the chats.
Exactly.
So you're still here 5 years later to tell us how the show's dying? Thanks for watching, guys.
Right,
Clowns.
exactly. So they're immediately disproving themselves. By showing up and saying it, they immediately disprove themselves.
With that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. Another massive thank you to today's Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. Stay tuned if you're watching on a premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
bloody day.